I'll remember that one day. Welcome to the Cheltenham Borough Council Licensing Subcommittee, Alcohol and Gambling, being held on the Wednesday, the 1st of October, 2025. My name is Councillor Simon Wheeler, and I have been elected as chair of this committee. This meeting is being streamed live to Cheltenham Borough Council's YouTube channel, and the recording of the meeting will be held for 4 years. If there are any breaks in transmission to the YouTube stream, the meeting will be adjourned for a short period until issues can be resolved. And we have no members of the public here, but oh, yes, of course we do, yes. If you're here to make representation to the meeting, you are consenting to the use of sound and video recordings for broadcasting and training purposes. Please be aware that CCTV and audio recording is now in operation in the public gallery. The recordings will be held by the council for 5 months. Also, please note, fire alarm test is not expected, so if the alarms do sound, you should immediately make your way to the nearest exit, which is over here, and there is one just here. I have no declarations of interest. So, agenda item 3, determination of new application for a premises licence. Because this is a regulatory item, members must be present for and have heard the proceedings in their entirety to vote on this item. We will ensure that the applicant and the applicant's representative, if they have one, are present at the meeting. We will ask the licensing officer to introduce the report. Members will get an opportunity to ask licensing officer questions. Then the applicant and their representative will get opportunity to ask the licensing officer questions. The objectors will be given the opportunity to ask licensing officer questions, and then the objectors will be given the opportunity to speak. We ask you limit this to no more than 10 minutes. Members and applicants will be given the opportunity to ask objectors questions, and the applicant or their representative will be given the opportunity to present their application or make their case. We ask applicants to try and limit this to no more than 10 minutes or so. Members can ask the applicant question. Objectors can then ask the applicant questions. Applicant will be given a final right of reply, and then members will then retire to debate the matter and to write a decision notice. Members will return to the chamber, and the chair and legal officer will deliver the outcome. So I would like to ask the licensing officer to introduce this report.
Thank you, Chair. So good afternoon. We're here today to determine a new premises licence application for Cheltenham Local 216 to 218 Hewlett Road, made by Gabba Ventures Limited. A copy of the report has been distributed to the applicant and the interested parties. The applicant has applied for the sale or supply of alcohol 24 hours a day, with a window hatch being operated between 2300 hours to 0700 hours exclusively. The application was subject to the usual 28-day consultation period, during which a number of representations were received. 2 representations were received from responsible authorities. These were the police and environmental health. Neither of these were objections, and the comments and conditions suggested by the police and environmental health were agreed with by the applicant. These are attached as appendices with the report. 8 representations were received from interested parties, and these were objections. The objections primarily related to the licensing objectives of public nuisance and prevention of crime and disorder. All licensing objectives are of equal importance. These are the prevention of crime and disorder, public safety, the prevention of public nuisance, and the protection of children from harm. As guidance, we have a statement of licensing policy that lays out core hours for different licensable activities. The licensing authority believes that an off-license premises would not have a harmful impact on the licensing objectives with a commencement hour of 9 a.m. and a terminal hour of 11 p.m. In determining the application, the committee may grant the licence as applied for, grant the licence subject to modified conditions appropriate for the promotion of the licensing objectives, exclude from the scope of the licence any of the licensable activities to which the application relates, refuse to specify a person in the licence as the designated premises supervisor, or reject the application. The committee must have regard to the authority's statement of licensing policy and the Secretary of State's Section 182 statutory guidance. The licensing authority's policy makes clear that the promotion of the licensing objectives is paramount. There's a copy of the application attached at Appendix 1, which details the steps that the applicant will take in relation to promoting the 4 licensing objectives. Members must determine this application on its individual merits, with a view to promoting the licensing objectives, taking into account all of the representations and supporting information presented by all parties, the statutory guidance and its own statement of licensing policy. If the committee chooses to depart from its policy, it must give good reasons for doing so. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have members got any questions? Councillor Stenhouse.
Yeah, could I just determine whether there are any other premises in the area which are open through the night?
So there is a Sainsbury's on Priors Road, which closes at 11 p.m, licensed till 11 p.m, sorry. There's a Tesco stores on 214 Hewlett Road that are licensed until 11 p.m, so not in the near area.
Just for clarification, as I understand it, the sale of other goods would be permissible 24/7. And I think from your answer to the last question, are there no other premises selling alcohol 24/7?
Do you mean in the local area?
In the local area,
Yeah.
sorry.
No.
Thank you. So if there's no more questions from members, are there any questions from the objectors? This is just questions of the officers, this is.
You say no nearby stores next to this property, store that's trying to do the 24/7. There's Tesco's right next door,
Yes, yeah.
right next door.
What's 11 though?
Yeah, they're licensed till 11 p.m, Tesco stores.
Yes, why does it need to be open 24/7 when you think of all the, they're having the shop closed, so if there's any noise, it's all going to be outside. I live dead opposite it, and they've got such bright lights, it's like floodlights coming through the house.
If I may, it's the questions we're asking, because you will get an opportunity to make your case in a moment. What I'm asking now is for clarity based on the officer's report. I think what you're asking is something that's very valid to make when you get the opportunity to make your case later. But have you got any questions of the licensing officer based on his report?
Yes, have you sort of given permission for them to go for 24/7?
No, this is why we're having this hearing, tonight, to determine that. There's a license in place already until 11 p.m. for that premises, but this is hearing to determine if or not the consent is granted for the extended hours. Thank you.
Is that all the questions you have for the moment? Yeah, okay. So I'll now ask the applicant, hang on, applicant, if you'd like to, if you have any questions of the licensing officer.
No, sir. Thank you.
Mrs. Leslie Winrow, is it? Yes, sorry. Would you like to make your address to the committee?
You want me to?
Anything you, any comment you'd
Yeah,
like to make
yeah.
to the committee
Yeah, well,
as to
As
why?
you know, strongly object against it. Lived in that property for 40 years now. I've seen a vast difference since being there in traffic, noise, vandalism, you name it. Drunkenness, through drunkenness. It's bad enough having Tesco's being 6 o'clock in the morning till 11 o'clock at night, which barely gives us 7 hours of peace and quiet, so to speak, which sounds like we're going to get robbed of it. So I don't think it should go ahead at all. We're going to have all the noise from vehicles as well as people. We're going to have littering. We have bottles and God knows what thrown over our walls now, and people urinating in my driveway. I'm getting older. I'm getting no younger. I don't want to be putting up with all this rubbish. End of story. Shouldn't happen. If they can't purchase alcohol between the hours of 6 and 11 o'clock at night, that's a poor job. If it's going to go all the way through the night. Find it hard to believe. It's incredible. Bits in the report there saying they will not serve intoxicated people. I won't believe that for 1 minute. As long as they're getting money in their hand, they won't give a damn who they're serving, intoxicated or not. End of story.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Mardell?
Yeah, apart from what Leslie's just said, I say you'll be getting the cars pulling in and out all night long. Doors, when Tesco's in the morning, I've had to moan at them because when they have papers delivered at 3 o'clock in the morning, you hear all the doors slamming for the vans, and it's only one van that wakes me up. So if it's going to get your cars in and out during the night, that's going to be going all the time. And say, with the lights there, they're so bright, they are like, I spoke to somebody from Matt Wilkinson's office, and she said as she drove up the road, I don't know if you know the area, the Berkhamsted School, and she said she thought there was floodlights up the road. I mean, I live dead opposite. And it comes shining through the curtains. And that's up to 11 o'clock. What would it be like till in the winter, 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning? Plus, say, you're going to get people turning up. They could be half drunk and drive there, You're going to get that during the night anyway. So, I mean, if you can't get it up to 11 o'clock, I can't see why they need to get the drink unless they are sort of alcoholics, really. It's not just people that come off night shift. They don't already have the alcohol at home, I would have thought.
Okay, Joe. Yes.
Just to draw it to your attention, traffic would not be a relevant concern regarding licensing objectives. It would be a planning matter. Thank you.
Why wouldn't the traffic be an issue?
Because there are certain things that we can deal with, so licensing objectives. The traffic wouldn't come under us, that would be a planning matter, and planning have granted a licence. It's not part of the licence that we deal with. It's not saying that it isn't, it's something that we are not allowed to consider.
It would just be the noise concerns from the licensable activities
Yes.
would be considered.
I think what the officer's saying is we could consider noise, but we couldn't consider excess traffic, if that makes sense. So no, they can't bang doors. We could consider that a reasonable objection. But I think sorry.
Thank you, Chair. We wouldn't be able to consider any noise in relation to the vehicles. That would be a consideration for the planning permission. So the only nuisance that we can consider here is any nuisance relating to the licensable activity, which is the sale of alcohol. So any noise banging and things, you'd have to report under the Environmental Protection Act to the Environmental Health Team, and then they could look into a statutory nuisance matter if that did arise.
Sorry, can I just say, does that apply to the lights as well, which are shining in this gentleman's area?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, so any light nuisance would also fall under the Environmental Protection Act. So again, you would report that to the Environmental Health Team if you were suffering from that. Unfortunately, we are tied to the licensable activities today that the applicant has applied for, which is just the sale of alcohol, and anything that the sale of alcohol may have as a detrimental impact on the licensing objectives.
I think we've moved on. Has any member got questions of the objectors, please? Councillor
Sorry,
Stannard.
just to totally clarify, because I visited the area to have a look what was going on there and where everything was placed. Are you saying just where is it exactly you live? Do you live directly opposite the? Right. Okay. The other side, you go walk across the road, and there you are. Right. Okay. Thank you.
Councillor Barrell.
Yes, I'm just trying to clarify what my question is. Am I right? We can't take into account the noise or the lights. Because obviously the public nuisance is sort of connected to the noise and all that sort of thing. So I would have thought that, noise generated by people doing it at this sort of time through the night sounds to me as if it's connected with the public nuisance, but you're saying it's not. Sorry, I'm getting a bit confused here.
I think that is questions of officers rather than the objectors, but I think we should, we could still ask.
Thank you, Chair. So it is only nuisance in relation to the sale of alcohol. So, I mean, as I understand it, you could go up to the hatch and you could buy anything as well as alcohol. So you'd need to be able to connect that nuisance to people buying alcohol. If they were just turning up in their car to buy a pint of milk, etc., then there's no licensable activity taking place. So that's where it would fall under a different regime. So the planning team have granted planning permission for that operation 24/7. And they would be the ones that would look at the traffic management around the area. And as I said, the Environmental Health Team could deal with any complaints with regards to light nuisance and any sort of statutory nuisance caused by noise from patrons attending the venue.
So any more member questions of the objectors? No. Mr. Gabba, have you got any questions for the objectors?
No, sir. Can I ask, in the report, they said the shop will be closed, so it can minimise the nuisance inside the shop. What about outside the shop? Because you can hear it, everything goes past, so it's going to even,
Dead on the mic.
yeah, amplified all the time.
I don't know if anyone wants to answer that. It's certainly a comment and something that we can take into consideration when we make our deliberation later. I don't know if any officer wants to comment.
Thank you, Chair. I think the only point to make at the moment is that the premises isn't open past 11 p.m. So anything in regards to fear and speculation should only be taken into account to a certain degree. If those problems do occur, should a licence be granted, I don't know what the outcome of today's meeting will be, then there is a review process there, as long as you can connect that to the licensable activity. But at the moment, that premises isn't open past 11 p.m. So obviously we don't know if those issues will occur or may occur.
Excuse me, do you know if they've got permission for those lights at the moment?
That would, again, I believe, will be a planning issue.
Because I heard they haven't.
Well, I think it's not a matter for this committee, but it's certainly a matter you can follow up with the planning officers.
I'll more likely be dead by then, by the time that gets through at my age.
Well, if it is an issue and if they haven't got permission and if they need permission, then that can be stopped immediately.
Just to say that, sir, the application has gone through and we're just in process with all the plannings and stuff we have done. So we got evidence for that.
All right then. Okay. Mr. Gabba, would you like now to address the committee with why you want your application?
Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank you all of you for having me here and giving me the opportunity to represent Cheltenham Local and what we do basically. The reason for us to apply for this license was it was an opportunity that we were given to expand our business, to provide for our families. Cost of living has gone up, so it gives us an opportunity to stand out from our competitors. So we got Tesco's next to us, for example. The shop that we had before had a bad reputation and of course went through a lot of problems before. I've been in this business for nearly about 13 years. So I'm talking from experience now that this is an opportunity when our competitors have closed. It gives us an opportunity to make a bit of money. We all got families, we all got kids, we all got somewhere to live and pay rent, mortgages, got car finances and so on. So we thought this is an opportunity that if the business that competitors are closed, it makes us stand out and look like we're doing a bit something different. I mean, we're probably not the only shop in the whole of the UK, you know, to ask for a 24 hours license. And we're very fortunate that we could apply for something. And there's an opportunity that we can take to expand our business. I mean, today, Tesco, Sainsbury's, and everything's where they are today because they took the opportunity to expand themselves and make what they are. I mean, if someone like myself has a dream, I mean, why should I not follow it? Why should I not take the opportunity, you know, what this country has given to us, that we come from such a far places and with poverty and stuff, to come down here and at least, you know, make something of ourselves with our families. I mean, I travel for London every day. I'm driving 2 hours. It costs me fuel. It costs me electricity at the shop. It costs me, you know, paying for my mortgages, everything. So I just want to take the opportunity to at least get somewhere in life and pay for all my rents and look after my family. So I don't think it's a bad situation of what I'm doing, or it's not to disappoint someone. And the least I would ever do is to, you know, make someone, yourself or anyone, to be upset. I mean, my parents have taught me well. I respect everyone. I treat everyone very equally. The opportunity that we're getting here is we got a small hatch. Regarding the noise, we don't do deliveries at night, so we will have no cages. We got deliveries in the morning, but we got back parking. So when we have the back parking, I doubt anyone right now can hear anything we're doing because I've got one van and I unload from the same trolley and I've loaded it back into the shop. We don't make more noises in the morning because we don't have newspapers. We don't get milk delivery. We got no caravans or any other vans coming down to our shop to make those noises. Also, at night time, the hatch, we're trying to install a little speaker in there, just like every other petrol pump does, where you can just speak through the mic, get what you need, and we could just pass it through the hatch and it's all done. For us to see that, to serve to drunk people, I've been doing this for 13 years, and I'm sure when I was doing my alcohol licenses and when we go through our premises licenses, we were told not to serve illegally and to people that are overdrunk. So if I haven't done something like that for 13 years for just a couple of quid, I'm sure I won't be doing that the rest of my life. We had enforcers come into the shop to check if we served to underage or anything, and we passed that. So, we were very keen on what we do. We're very proud of our business and, the opportunity that we get. So, I mean, if I can get through this and help my family a little bit, I don't think I'm doing anything wrong, sir.
Thank you very much. Are there any member questions for the applicant? Councillor Barrow.
Yes, thank you very much for that explanation, particularly as to why you see the need for extending the hours from what they are at the moment. I think one of the obvious concerns is that once drink is involved, you are going to get people gathering perhaps outside around the hatch in order to drink, etc. What sort of measures are you going to take, to restrict the noise and to get people to move away from the hatch rather than consume their drinks around there?
If you're very familiar with the area or not, but our parking is very limited. We got about 6 to 7 car park spaces, which is shared by Tesco's as well. So the thing that we're trying to do is that when we see, and in the morning time, you don't get that much of people coming. So I'm sure at night time, I doubt we're going to get that many people. And for a news business to be open, it takes a long, long time for someone to actually come outside and know that you're open 24 hours and to come and buy stuff. So, I mean, I don't think even in the mornings we open 7 a.m. We don't get much public coming in, walking, even driving past. So I don't think at night time will be. And to reduce that, if that does happen, like I said, we got limitation of parking. We can only serve one person at a time through the counter. So we wouldn't be, serving 3 or 4 people that will be there. And it's very noticeable if someone is drunk or if someone is trying to cause a nuisance, the opportunity for us is to for our safety as well. We can call the police, we can, have our security guard watching him, all sorts of stuff. But like, again, it's quite going to be very difficult for us to have that many people attending to that area as much as we've been there for this many months to have a nuisance be caused, to be honest.
You mentioned a security guard. Will you have a security guard there with you or just someone looking at the CCTV?
At the moment, we have staff that's part of our security, so he's there with us nearly throughout the whole day. It's just because we were quite new to the area, we didn't know much about it. So just for safety precautions, like we have our other businesses, we wanted to make sure, we have safety around this area as well. So he most of the times looks after us and the shop, to be honest.
Thank you.
Councillor Stenhouse.
Thank you. From the report, the environmental health people note that noise is intrusive wherever it is. Do you envisage being open from midnight through to the morning, an increase in noise?
Since we've been here, I haven't seen much noise or much of a nuisance within the shop or outside the premises. Everyone's very lovely. I'm sure a lot of people around the area are very well educated and they do respect the environment and the business. This was an opportunity for us when we first opened up new. to get a lot of people in, and we had a lot of good feedbacks as well because we made a lot of changes in the premises. We got new items, new stuff. So, it was just something that was eye-catching to everyone else.
The opposite would like a word.
Thank you, Chair. Sorry, just going back to Councillor Barrell's question about security staff. Can you confirm if you have any SIA registered security staff on the premises?
Not at the moment, ma'am. So it's like he's not really security. He's like a staff member that we keep 2 people at a time just in case someone is stealing or someone is causing problems within the premises. So he's a part of our staff at the moment. But we're thinking to get security in from one of the agencies that we tried to apply through, but we haven't got any response back from them until yet.
Thank you. Just for the benefit of the councillors, you do need to hold an SIA badge to be able to carry out security responsibilities. So I would take that there are no trained security staff at the premises.
Councillor Stenhouse.
Okay. Just going back to the issue of the number of people coming through at night, do you have any idea of how many people you might be expecting to come through? And you noted earlier that you wouldn't expect very many, so is it really worth your while opening for those hours?
Yes, sir. So we haven't had that many people at the moment come through because as we're a new business and we literally started off from scratch again, knowing the reputation and the sources of the shop before, which wasn't good. But it just gives us an opportunity to see if we can expand. At the moment, it's like a 50-50 because we don't know how many people will be coming or not until we don't test it out. I can give you the exact figures if we get a demonstration or we can, get the opportunity to at least open up for once. And regarding the 24 hours, it doesn't really mean, sir, that we might be open for the whole duration of the hours. It might be just because that if there's a festival, there's some days we are really busy, like throughout the weekends. It just gives us a bit of extra money to help our families and the business, to be honest, to expand.
Applicants, would you like...
Yes. This gentleman said he travels from London every morning. And the next comment he said, he's been there at night. And there's been no trouble. He's noticed going by. So how does he get from A to B in the same time?
So to answer your question, sir, I've been doing very long hours. So I tend to do some days mornings and I'm there till 8 p.m., 9 p.m. Because it's a new business, I need to give it opportunity and time for it to expand. If I'm not at the business myself, the staff is not going to do it. I have to be somewhere where I've invested so much money, taking loans and money from people that I need to pay back. It gives me the opportunity to see and what's going around here. There are some days I do 16, 17 hours. I mean, it's just the way I am. I've been doing this for the past 13 years with my other businesses as well. And so has my dad.
Yes, I think I jumped the gun a little bit there. I offered you questions when I hadn't finished members, because I do have a few questions myself. However, I don't think that's going to make a great difference. I think it's unreasonable for you are a new business. You don't need to ask this committee for permission to sell groceries, etc. 24/7. That is permission that you've already got from planning. All we're asking for tonight is permission, in effect, to sell alcohol from 11 till 6. So my question to you would be, insofar that this is almost exclusively residential, why do you feel there is a need to be selling alcohol at that time? I mean, I would have put the question as to why you need to be selling groceries at that time, but that happens. But in that, a loaf of bread might be considered an essential, whereas a a six-pack or a bottle of wine, I would have thought that someone could have purchased that at another time. It's not a desperate need. So can you tell me why you feel you need to sell alcohol in the early hours?
So to be very honest, truly, we're all here to make money. So I want to make a bit of money. And of course, there are a couple of customers that we do get that are on night shifts, either working at Tesco's or either working in Lidl's or somewhere around the area. Come in at night and they always tend to buy their groceries from us. But they always, of course, like a bottle of wine or a bottle of spirit just to put them to bed, to go to sleep. If they have a day off the next day to, you know, just enjoy their days off for the next day. And of course, there are some customers that do mind, like, if I have just grocery, they probably might not come in again to myself just because I'm not serving them alcohol. I mean, everyone has their own decision and mindset to, you know, for me to help them. And I'm just trying to do my best to please everyone if I can, but I know for a fact I won't be able to. But it's just, if something like that can give me an opportunity to make a bit extra bucks, then I just don't know why I should not.
Yes, I think the reason I ask that is that our policy says that it is reasonable for you to sell alcohol from 6 till 11. Now, if we want to move away from our accepted policy, we need a good reason for doing that. So, yeah, that was the reasoning behind my question. I don't know if that's, I think you've answered it as you see fit. Ms. Gabber, you now have your final right of reply.
So I will please, I mean, I'm here to say that I would really appreciate this opportunity if I can get to 24-hour license so I can expand my business, help my families, help anyone else that's working within our business. And of course, you know, stand out from our competitors and try and do something different as we cannot do it throughout the daytimes. I mean, I can assure to make sure that I try and reduce a lot of nuisance or whatever I can within I can do within myself, and get my staff trained to up to the standard that we should. Like again, I'm not here to disappoint anyone or make anyone's life hard or to upset anyone. I'm just trying to be a businessman and trying to do my business proposition, you see.
Okay, thank you very much. So now, members, did you want to hold, you suggested earlier that we would have our deliberation in private. Do you still want to do that? Okay, with that then, we'll disappear for...
Yeah, just one question I'd like to ask.
No, I'm afraid you can't ask, because the gentleman's had his final right of reply. You had your question. If I take your question now, this gentleman has then got another opportunity to give a final right of reply. You had your question, so I think we've covered most
This
things.
come after his last question, what he was saying. Brought this up. He said he's got people from Tesco's and Sainsbury's going to his place to get alcohol. Surely they're buying there where they work, so it'd be cheaper.
Yeah, as I say, the gentleman's already had his final right of reply. We can't really take further questions after that. Okay, thanks very much. We are now back. I'd like to ask the legal officer to read our decision, please.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, everybody. At the hearing, the subcommittee heard from the licensing officer, objectors and the applicant. In coming to its decision, the subcommittee had due regard to all relevant legislative provisions, including the Licensing Act 2003, which confers the powers of the licensing authority to deal with the application, the obligation to promote the 4 licensing objectives, the relevant sections of the Council's Statement of Licensing Policy and statutory guidance. The Licensing Subcommittee noted it must carry out its functions with a view to promoting the 4 licensing objectives set out in the 2003 Act. The subcommittee was aware it cannot take into account representations which do not relate to one or more of those licensing objectives, and acknowledges representations which are taken into account must be relevant and evidence-based. The subcommittee considered all relevant verbal and written submissions from the applicant, objectors and the licensing officer before making its decision on the application. In deciding the application, the subcommittee noted no objections had been raised by the responsible authorities, but the subcommittee did note the comment of environmental health that noise would be intrusive at night. The council policy states that licensable activities carried on within the core hours of 9 o'clock in the morning till 11 o'clock at night will generally not have a harmful impact on the licensing objectives and addresses the concerns raised by local residents. The policy vision statement of the council is to promote the policy by having less focus on alcohol and protecting the quality of life of residents. The business is not within the core business area and is in a purely residential area, and the reason behind the application is money motivated, and the subcommittee does not see that as a good enough reason to deviate from its policy. The subcommittee therefore, by a unanimous decision, decided to reject the application as requested. All parties are reminded there is a right of appeal against the licensing authority's decision pursuant to Section 181 and Schedule 5 to the Licensing Act 2003. Any appeal must be made to the Magistrates' Court and commence within 21 days of notification of the authority's decision. The subcommittee wishes the applicant well with the new business and reminds him that he's still permitted to open 24/7, but unfortunately not to sell alcohol during the hours of 11 o'clock at night and 6 o'clock in the morning. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. So you have our decision now. Sorry, we can't give you that extra, but it moves away from our policy. But thank you very much for coming tonight. And thank you to the 2 objectors as well for your representations. Thank you very much. And I have no other items that I deem urgent. So with that, I will close the meeting. Thank you very much.